Now, we're always looking for that new thing that's going to get us that extra benefit in our training and try and re-stimulate and resensitize or give us a new trigger to get out of a plateau and such like. Well, I was injured with my calf strain, and I was looking for a way of trying to do sort of maximal work, but with obviously the load being lighter than usual. And obviously I was building the weight up gradually through this, and I stumbled across something called Myo-reps. It's been around since about 2008, and it's very interesting. It's sort of a bit like a partial occlusion type training, but without actually needing to physically put a tourniquet on. And it's also really kind of working on a lighter load, but it's still going up to some pretty intense kind of workouts. So it's got more metabolite elements to it, and it's got more of a pump and therefore more fascial stretch, cellular swelling type of triggers, and a lactate obviously effect from the anabolism you get from that too. And it's very, very intense. So I gave it a go, and it really, really good. It's very, very efficient, which is great. So you get your workouts done faster. So this video is basically describing what it is. So realistically, what it is that you keep the tension, constant tension on the muscles. So as an example, if I show you in the video here, if you're doing side lateral raises, then you don't go all the way down, meaning that the deltoid is under constant tension. It doesn't switch off. And when a muscle contracts quite strongly, you'll find that actually the blood flow is diminished. You can't get good venous return from that muscle. So it's a bit like occlusion training, where you put the blood flow restriction training and the tourniquet on, but without going to the hassle and the trouble of doing that. What you do is you do a lighter load than normal, somewhere where you can probably do maybe 20-30 reps as a guide, but it's fine to deviate slightly from that, and you do as many as you can. So you do actually go to pretty much failure on this. Once you hit failure, you drop them by your sides, you take 3 deep breaths pretty much, and then you go again. And you go again to pretty much failure. You can leave a couple in the tank if you think you need to, but it depends how many sets you're planning to do. So if you're planning to do 4 sets, then obviously I wouldn't necessarily go to failure on the second set, or maybe the third set, but very close. In truth, it's very much highlights how little people go to failure when you start doing this type of stuff. So you basically keep on doing the same thing. So you do your set, you drop them by your sides, take a few deep breaths, go again, until you've done your 4 sets, if it was 4 sets you were going to do. And by that last set, you're annihilated. I mean, you literally can barely move your arms. The muscle feels like it's had an insane pump. There's a stretch internally, like a compression. It feels like something's going to explode. The lactate and the burning is through the roof. And yeah, I feel like I may, considering I'm still on my calorie deficit, I would say that I feel like I've probably grown some muscle. In fact, technically speaking, I'm leaner than before Christmas, and yet I weigh heavier. Now that could be because the Myo-reps might bring in more glycogen and more water, which is possible. Maybe there's a bit more stimulus, a new stimulus for growth there too. But yeah, it's a great way of training and a new kind of way of doing it. So like I say, give it a go. I mean, you can use it pretty much anywhere. Be very careful on compound movements. I would say I would steer clear of them, so deadlifts and squats maybe and things like that. Perhaps don't use this technique on, or be very cautious if you do. Don't really go to failure on this, because technique failure on them type of exercises is probably dangerous. But yeah, isolation type movements, bicep curls, you name it, anything isolation wise is probably a very good go for it. The other thing is because you get your sets done with minimal rest periods, you're out the gym faster. So one, that can mean you can do a bit more volume by adding a few extra exercises in if you so wish, or you can literally just get out, get done, and you're finished, which is great. So it's a nice little change up to things. Like I say, I wouldn't say it's the be all and end all, but it's a nice little change to the norm. You could do a little mesocycle on that, or a week's worth of that, and see how you get on with it. And like I say, a new stimulus, a new training effect, much more metabolite orientated, blood flow restriction orientated, and you get a great pump from it as well. So that concludes my video on Myo-reps. So I'll see you next time. We want to keep making great content for our subscribers, so if anyone would like to support the channel by making a pledge, then we would be extremely grateful, and you can do this on our Patreon page here.